That's not good. Nobody wants to go on that date, let me tell you. Nobody wants to go out for coffee. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. You wanna get married? Like, don't be that person, right? Important, core values are your filter. When you have to determine what you're gonna say yes to and what you say no to, you look at your core values. If you don't have clarity on what those are, I have those written down for myself, I have those written down for my family. We go over those every quarter with my kids, and we talk about our core values as our family. When my kids make a mistake, because all kids do, all people do, I go back to our core values and I explain why this is not in alignment with who we are. When you understand that, you'll know who you're looking for, and that is my segue to your list of 200. Build a list of 200 agents that share your core values. Please do not build a list. Please do not recruit anyone who is icky. Please do not recruit anyone who does not share your core values. If you recruit 400 or 500 or just say 5, remember I said my group was built with 5 key relationships? If those 5 key relationships were horrible people, who do you think they would have brought into my organization? Say more horrible people. I have a quote that I love to say, which is, a-holes only refer other a-holes. Bad people know bad people. So keep them out of your list and prune them as much as you can. Because if you build a group of 200 or 500 or 1,000 or whatever, and they're all toxic people, the rev share is not a blessing. It is not freedom. It becomes a prison. It becomes a curse. That would be the worst thing in the entire world. Okay. We have EXP score and we have relationship score at the top. Has anyone ever run into somebody and in the first conversation you find out that they're a 9 or a 10 on the EXP score? This happens all the time. Why? Because 13 people join EXP every day without a sponsor. This isn't a bad idea. This is a great idea that people are already thinking about. Anyone here ever been prospecting? You called people on the phone, you door knocked them, you got in touch with them, however, they open the door, and you're like, hi, I'm John with EXP Realty. And they're like, holy crap, we were just talking about selling our house last night. This must be what? A sign from God. If someone showed up on your doorstep tomorrow and you had just been talking about selling your home, you would be like, this is a sign. We are meaning-making machines. If someone was just thinking about joining EXP and you bumped into them at a conference wearing an EXP polo or an EXP hat, or you happened to call them on the phone and they were just looking at a video last night, do you think that they would assume that that was a sign? I'm gonna tell you they would. And by the way, are people who are a 1 who don't talk to me about EXP, are those people, can we still recruit those people? Say yes. Say yes. But we don't treat a 1 like a 9 and we don't treat a 9 like a 1. That's the most important thing here. The next thing is the relationship score. 10 is like my best man at my wedding. A 1 is like a stranger from the internet that I just clicked follow on Instagram. I don't want to treat a 1 like a 10. If we just met, I just connected with you, we're having our first conversation, and the third thing I say to you is, you want to get on a call to talk about EXP? That's not good. Nobody wants to go on that date, let me tell you. Nobody wants to go out for coffee. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. You want to get married? Like, don't be that person, right? So in every interaction, it's very important you know these 2 scores. And don't presuppose the EXP score. Who here knows who Spring Benson is? How many agents did she have in her group at Real before she came to EXP, roughly? She had 3,000 agents in her group at Real before she came to EXP. 3,000. Do you think a lot of people presupposed that she was a no? Do you think a lot of people were like, there's no way that she ever joins EXP? I think most people probably thought that. Except Veronica Figueroa didn't. Veronica Figueroa had no problem reaching out to her and being like, let's chat. So don't guess or assume that someone's not interested. Have the conversation first and then figure out what you think their EXP interest score is. Is that fair? Okay. And then your goal of every interaction, every time you chat online, every time you chat on the phone, every time you meet in person, every time you get on a Zoom, whatever the case may be, your goal is to move their EXP interest score up 1 or 2 notches, or to move their relationship score up 1 or 2 notches. Does that make sense? Okay, you don't move somebody from a 2 to a 10. That does happen, but that's not your goal. You move them from a 2 to a 4. All right. Now on this list, like I said, what you seek, you will find. What was Spring's reason to move over? Spring's reason to move over was that one time she got a 7-cent rev share check. So EXP has co-sponsorship. It is true multiplication. We don't have any dilution. In Real, every time you name a co-sponsor, you split the revenue share, and Real takes 10% out of the pool. So Real steals 10%, 45% goes to one, 45% goes to the other. Well, if I take 10 and I divide it by 2, that's 5. If I take 5 and I divide it by 2, that's 2.5. And if I divide 2.5 by 2, that's 1.25. And if I divide that again, we're less than 1. So if you just add a couple co-sponsors into the tree, all of a sudden what was money, what was an opportunity, goes to 0. And the reason that EXP's revenue share is magic is because it ties people together with a financial incentive. So if I'm not making any money, if Brad Allen is in my downline, he's in my 3rd level, but there's so many co-sponsors involved that I'm only making like $4 on Brad. And not only am I making $4 on Brad, but I'm making like $1 off everybody else. And I'm really like, there's just no financial incentive for me to take Brad's call. There's no reason for me to build a supportive environment that helps Brad because it doesn't work. So that's what Spring told me her reason was, but I'm sure there's other reasons as well. What we seek, we will find. Great people to put on your list are on this list. The top Real Trends agents. Does everybody know how to access the top producer list for the entire country? Okay. Who thinks that you can't just start building a relationship with the top agents in the world? Who here thinks, I don't sell enough real estate, I'm small fish, I would never reach out to one of those people? Like, just be honest. Tell me. All right, Kimberly, she's honest. Bob's honest. Okay, here's the deal. Couple things. One, great agents join EXP every day. We had a brokerage of 140 join recently in Southern California from Coldwell Banker. We've got a multi-billion-dollar brokerage joined out of Boston, the Bean Group. We have had massive superstars join this brokerage every single day. Guess what you all have? If you think you're too small of a fish, guess what you can go reach out for? Co-sponsorship. Go find one of the big bad boys and bring them in. Once you start to develop this relationship, if you get to a point where you don't think you can handle it anymore, phone a friend. It's just like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Can I phone a friend? Can I bring somebody in and have them help me with this? How about somebody from the growth team? Could you bring in somebody from the growth team? Could you bring in Leo Pareja? If you called up the number 5 agent in the world on the right day, I'll tell you a cool story. I met with the chairman and the founder of Douglas Elliman. You guys know who Douglas Elliman is? It's all the fanciest real estate agents in New York City work at Douglas Elliman. I was in a meeting with him and he told me that the number 1 agent in their company left 1 year. This guy did more business than Frederick Eklund. He left the company 1 year because he didn't like the hand towels that they changed in the bathroom. They changed the bathroom hand towels and he decided to leave because he thought they weren't high class enough. If you happen to call that agent on that day and he said, yes, I'm open to a conversation, you can get him on with Leo Pareja right away. Our CEO still does recruiting appointments for top producers, especially agents from Compass, because we don't really get along with them so well if you haven't been reading the headlines. So you have a whole team to support you. I would be a pretty valuable recruit. Would everybody agree? If I was brought to another company like Real, 1,000 agents, I have some influence, probably be I'm not like the best recruit at EXP, but I'm up there, right? Do you know how many recruiting calls I've received in the last year? 0, not a single one. Do you know how many recruiting calls the average crappy, low producing agent gets? A lot.
So many.
Yeah, so many, because here's the deal. People aren't scared to call them. And it's completely the opposite. You need to change your logic. You need to flip this over completely. It's actually easier to go recruit a top producer than it is to recruit somebody who doesn't sell a lot of houses. Why is that? Rarely is it about money. And typically when someone is paying their brokerage too much money, they see value in it. So it's like, I paid a Compass $500,000 last year, and I know I would pay EXP less, but because I paid Compass $500,000, I was able to do $4 million in GCI. And so I'm okay with the trade-off. I make a lot of money, so I'm okay paying a lot of money. So rarely is it actually about the money, but you're right in this essence, which is they understand value. They understand what they need. They have experience in doing things to understand what their business could look like if they were in the right environment. Okay? Co-op agents, top agents, agents who have a podcast, agents who have a big YouTube following, agents who are coaches, agents who have been recruiters at other brokerages, agents who have been office managers at other brokerages. The broker. We have a fun saying about brokers. Anyone know it? No one's broker than the broker. Okay? No one's broker than the broker. Guess what everybody tells you? You ever heard this objection? I would move to EXP, but... You can put this on t-shirts.
I love my broker.
I love my broker. I love my broker. Yeah, great. Me too. You know, I love my broker so much. You know what I did? I recruited her to EXP. You know, EXP posts their open job positions. Brokers have influence, yes or yes? If you want to go recruit somebody, go recruit a broker. People love them. That's usually like the office mom. Right? Go find a job. When I moved my broker over to EXP, she got paid more. She got better upward mobility. She got more coverage. She was actually allowed to go to the bathroom. You know, a broker at a normal brokerage, they can't go to the bathroom, let alone go on vacation, because it's usually one person for like 300 agents or 5 offices or whatever the case may be. Her life got infinitely better because she came over to EXP. Take advantage of that opportunity.